For generations, the name Mandalorian has echoed through the galaxy, a word synonymous with warriors, armor, and a creed that is as unyielding as Beskar itself. We see Din Djarin, a lone wolf in a vast, dangerous universe. We see Bo-Katan Kryze, a leader fighting to reclaim her birthright. But what binds them? What great tragedy scattered their people to the winds and forced them into the shadows? Today we delve into the dark heart of Mandalorian history to uncover the story of the Great Purge. This is not just a battle. It's the cataclysm that almost extinguished an entire culture. To understand the Purge, we must first travel back to the final days of the Galactic Republic and the dawn of the Empire. Mandalore, a world scarred by centuries of internal conflict, was once again in turmoil. During the Clone Wars, a pacifist government led by Duchess Satine Kryze was overthrown by Darth Maul and his Shadow Collective. This led to a brutal civil war, with Bo-Katan Kryze leading the resistance. Eventually, with the help of the Republic, Maul was driven out, and Bo-Katan was installed as Mandalore's regent. But this victory was tragically short-lived. With the rise of the Galactic Empire, Mandalore's independence was a thorn in Emperor Palpatine's side. The Empire couldn't tolerate a powerful, independent warrior culture on its flank. They installed a puppet leader, Gar Saxon, a Mandalorian, who had sworn fealty to the Empire. For a time, Mandalore was occupied, its people subjugated. But Mandalorians are not easily tamed. Rebellion simmered, led by heroes like Sabine Wren and, once again, Bo-Katan. They fought to reclaim their world, and for a brief, shining moment, they succeeded. Bo-Katan, wielding the legendary Darksaber, united the clans and was once again declared the Mandalore, the rightful ruler of her people. This reunification was the final provocation for the Empire. It was a direct challenge to their authority, one they could not ignore. Moff Gideon, an ambitious and ruthless officer in the Imperial Security Bureau, was tasked with a final, horrific solution. He would not just defeat Mandalore, he would erase it. This was the beginning of the Great Purge. The Empire's true goal was not conquest, but annihilation. The event that triggered the full-scale devastation is known as the Night of 1,000 Tears. It was a meticulously planned, system-wide assault. Moff Gideon unleashed the might of the Imperial fleet upon the planet. TIE bombers descended from the sky, not just on military targets, but on cities, settlements, and cultural centers. The capital city of Sundari, once a symbol of Mandalorian innovation and art, was glassed from orbit. Its beautiful biodomes were shattered, its streets turned to molten slag. The bombing was relentless and indiscriminate. Imagine the horror. Families huddled in their homes, hearing the sky scream with the engines of their doom. Warriors clad in Beskar, some of the galaxy's finest fighters, were overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the attack. They fought back, of course. Mandalorians always fight. From the surface, they launched their Fang fighters in gauntlets, gauging the Imperial forces in a desperate last-ditch defense of their home. But they were outnumbered and outgunned. For every TIE fighter they shot down, 10 more took its place. The Empire's cruelty knew no bounds. They deployed KX-series security droids to hunt down survivors on the ground, and it's even said they used a weapon specifically designed to target and superheat Beskar armor, turning a Mandalorian's greatest defense into their fiery tomb. The assault lasted for what must have felt like an eternity. The sky burned, the ground shook, and the air filled with the ashes of a world. When the bombardment finally ceased, Mandalore was a wasteland. Its surface was irradiated, its atmosphere poisoned, its cities reduced to skeletal ruins. Millions of Mandalorians perished in the flames. It was a genocide, pure and simple. But the Purge didn't end with the bombing. Moff Gideon's mission was to break the Mandalorian spirit completely. The Empire hunted down the survivors who had managed to flee off-world. They rounded up those who surrendered, confiscating their armor and weapons. This act was more than just disarmament. It was a deep cultural wound. For a Mandalorian, their armor is part of their identity, their history. To have it stripped away was a violation of their very soul. The Empire seized a vast wealth of Beskar, melting it down for its own purposes, a final insult to the fallen. And what of the Darksaber, the symbol of leadership? In the chaos of the Purge, Moff Gideon himself defeated Bo-Katan and claimed the blade. This was the ultimate prize. By holding the Darksaber, Gideon believed he had not only conquered Mandalore, but had also stolen its future, its very right to rule itself. The loss of the saber, combined with the destruction of their world, was a devastating blow. The aftermath of the Great Purge was the diaspora. The surviving Mandalorians were scattered across the galaxy, with no home to return to. They became wanderers, refugees, hiding in secret enclaves, or coverts, like the one Din Djarin belonged to on Navarro. They lived in the shadows, adhering to their ancient creed, which for many, like the Children of the Watch, became even more rigid and dogmatic. The rule "this is the way" became a lifeline, a way to preserve their culture when they had nothing else left. For many, the surface of Mandalore was believed to be cursed, a poisoned and uninhabitable graveyard. The story of the Purge became a ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered to the young. So how did it end? The Purge itself was a singular event, but its effects lasted for years. The end, in a sense, was not an event, but a process of reclamation. It began with lone individuals like Din Djarin, who, through his journey with Grogu, brought the plight of the Mandalorians back into the galactic spotlight. His quest led him to cross paths with Bo-Katan Kryze and other survivors, reigniting the flame of hope. The first major step toward ending the era of the Purge was the defeat of Moff Gideon. When Din Djarin confronted Gideon and won the Darksaber in combat, he unknowingly fulfilled the blade's ancient right. He became its rightful wielder. Though he tried to give it to Bo-Katan, she knew she had to win it herself to truly unite their people. This conflict set the stage for the next chapter. The true end of the Purge's legacy was the retaking of Mandalore. Guided by a shared purpose, Mandalorians from all different walks of life, from Bo-Katan's Night Owls to the Children of the Watch, put aside their differences, came together, forming a fleet and a ground army to liberate their ancestral home. They discovered that while their world was scarred, it was not dead. Life could return. They fought their way through the remnants of Moff Gideon's Imperial holdouts and confronted him one last time in his secret base beneath the planet's surface. In a final epic battle, the Mandalorians fought as one. Bo-Katan, finally reclaiming the Darksaber in a legitimate duel against Gideon, led the charge. They reactivated the Great Forge, a hallowed place deep within the planet, relighting the heart of Mandalorian culture. By working together and proving their world could be healed, they officially ended the era of the Great Purge. They were no longer a scattered, broken people hiding in the dark. They were home. The Great Purge was the Empire's attempt to commit cultural genocide, to wipe a proud people from the pages of history, but they failed. They underestimated the resilience of the Mandalorian spirit. The Purge forged a new generation of heroes and ultimately served to unite a fractured people in a way that peace never could. It's a dark, tragic, but ultimately inspiring story of survival and rebirth. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into Mandalorian history. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the Star Wars universe. Let me know in the comments what you think is the most tragic part of the Great Purge. Until next time, stay safe, and may the Force be with you.